This is KHTS News Director Michael Brown. Thank you all for joining us this morning. I hope you're having a great morning wherever you are. We have a special guest for you today. We have newly selected mayor. It's weird, mayor now, Bill Miranda. Bill, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I was on a show on Friday, and someone called me Mayor Miranda and said it had a nice ring to it. So maybe I'll stick with it for the rest of the year.
It's got the nice alliteration going, Mayor Miranda.
There you go.
Now, I know that we haven't really had any sort of city council meeting since you've been elected as mayor here. Um, but the way that our governance works, the mayor has kind of a special responsibility, so to speak, just kind of be the front and kind of the face of the city council. Obviously, haven't had any city council meetings yet, but have you felt any of that yet? Has it felt different to be
Oh,
Mayor
yeah.
Miranda in the past few weeks?
Yes. In fact, I felt it right away. The number of emails tripled, the number of texts tripled, the number of phone calls tripled, and people want to talk to the mayor. And so, in that sense, I felt it. Also, there's a responsibility, to lead the council. So I don't have any more legislative power than anybody else. I'm a council member, just like the other four council members. We're all equal, but the mayor is the front, as you say, the face of the council, and has an obligation to lead and help influence the council in the direction that he or she may want it to go. So it's a responsibility, yeah.
So you mentioned leading, and this is going to be a big question, and feel free to take your time on it here. Where do you want to lead the city council in the next year? What are kind of some of your priorities coming up here for 2021?
Well, 2021 is a maybe wanna be year because we don't know what's going to happen based on the pandemic, right? So if the pandemic is completely gone, there's one plan. If we have to live with the pandemic for part of the year, then that's another plan. And if we have to the pandemic the entire year, well, I'm afraid it's going to be a lot more like 2020, and hopefully not. But we do plan ahead. We do think ahead. We do dream ahead. And so, if things go well, and by well I mean that the pandemic slows down in the first quarter and maybe even goes away by the end of the second quarter, by the summer, then I think we'll be in pretty good shape. Okay, so we have a lot of projects going on right now that we're going to complete in the year 2021. Uh, the big one, the crown jewel, if you will, is the Canyon Country Community Center. That's going to be just a fantastic place, and that's going to be a place where everybody can go and recreate, right? So whether you're 5 years old or 50 years old or 90 years old, there's something for everybody at the Canyon Country Community Center. You're going to love it. You're going to love the location. You're going to love the grounds. You're going to love the building and everything that's in the building. So that's the crown jewel. The other major project that's going to be completed in 2021 is the sheriff station. And a lot of people don't know this, but the sheriff station we have now off of Valencia Boulevard is very old. Okay, so you say, well, wait a minute, it doesn't look very old. Well, it doesn't look very old, but it's very old, right? It was built in 1969. It was built for a population of approximately 80,000 people in the valley.
We're a little bit bigger than that
Yeah,
now.
well, we're approaching 300,000 people in the valley. We're approaching 200 and who knows how many based on the census we'll know. But right now, who knows? But we're approaching 250,000 people in the city of Santa Clarita. And so we have an antiquated sheriff station that was built in 1969 for a population of 80,000 that now has to serve a population of almost 300,000 in the valley. Well, they can't do that and do it effectively and efficiently. So in order to do it better, effectively, and more efficiently, and by more efficiently, I'm talking about serving the public better, but also serving it at a cost that's more reasonable than maybe what we're having to pay now per deputy. So every deputy will have his or her own station. They will have his or her own ability and access to 5G internet All right, they'll be able to check records at lightning speeds and not have to wait for responses. And all of that makes things more efficient. And that sheriff station will be completed either late first quarter or sometime early second quarter of 2021. So those are two really big structures that are going up. The third one is the ice station. As you know, we bought the ice station late last year. We've been working on converting it, fixing it up, modernizing that also. That's 20 years old, and for an ice station, that starts to get a little aged. And so what we're doing is we're fixing it up and converting a part of it into a conference center that can be used by the entire community. So think of it as a event center, an ice skating center, a combination of both. All right, and that's going to happen. We're hoping it will happen late first quarter, but it might not be till second quarter. Again, everything depends on the pandemic.
Right.
Yeah. So those are three major projects that are coming up. Another thing that's happening is because of the protest of last summer. We have taken an inner look at ourselves as a city council, as a city staff, and as a community. And we've basically said, okay, we think we're doing great, but a segment of the community thinks we could be better. And so we're reaching out and listening to them. We created a human resources roundtable based on most of the demographics within our community. And we've created this roundtable as an advisory roundtable to the council. And they will advise us on ways to make our outreach to the community more inclusive, more diverse, so that we're reaching out to the entire community, not just to the community that we see on social media or wherever. So we're making a concerted effort, and I chair that committee. Council member Cameron Smythe, when he was mayor, was instrumental in helping get that going. I helped him with it, and now I chair the committee for how long I'm on the council, I guess. But what we want to do with that committee, as I said, is reach out to the rest of the community that maybe we don't hear from for whatever reason. And we're going to reach out to them and be more inclusive, more diverse in our community. Having said that, don't know if you had any of the key members of the Santa Cruz Valley Chamber of Commerce here lately, but they made a wonderful announcement. Their new board of directors is more diverse and more inclusive than ever. Okay, so you may not know this, but many years ago, when I joined the Santa Cruz Chamber of Commerce, Santa Cruz Valley Chamber of Commerce, I was probably the only diverse person on that board. And now to know that the majority of the board now is diverse and inclusive is so important. It really is so important, because I think we are better when we are a community that looks at one another and says, you make us better. Every one of us contributes to making the community better. The old melting pot theory, well, the melting pot makes the pot better, all right? And everybody, rising tide raises all boats. So that's what we're trying to do with the roundtable, and that's what we're trying to do as a city, and reaching out to the community, be more inclusive, be more diverse. And frankly, that was a result of the protests of last summer. I'm not sure that would have happened had the protests not gone on. We love the fact that the protests were nonviolent, and I think most of the protests throughout the country most of the protests were nonviolent. Most of the protesters were nonviolent, and that's good. That's the American way. Okay, so we're good with that. As long as they say protesters are nonviolent, we're good with that. You know, we can arrange whatever we need to arrange to make sure everybody's safe, but keep it nonviolent. What else are we doing? We opened the 35th park in the city over in Skyline, and that's a beautiful park. It has a wonderful baseball field and other amenities in that park. And that's Skyline, as you know, is now a part of the city. We annexed it. And it will include 900 new homes and you know, a large community of people. And we felt very strongly that a park should be in that area. So we built it. All right. We also built a bike park over there by the activity center, the sports complex.
Right.
So there's now a bike park up there. And you can go, Michael, and you can go and bike in that park. Now, if you do that, I may never see you again because, you know, you got to be pretty, and I don't know
I think my biking days are long behind me.
I was going to say, I don't know how good your biking is, but you better be really good to be able to bike with those guys. Those young people really know how to bike. Well, we also have Trek, the company Trek Bikes. They are now in the community, and they've agreed to build a motorbike section to the bike park. So that's going to be, I don't know what stage of construction that's in right now. I think they started, but it's not done yet, to my knowledge. But that's going to be another wonderful place for young people to go. So think about it. We have this great aquatic center. We have this great sports complex. We have a skate park. All right. We have a bike park. And wow. So there's a lot to do.
And it's all concentrated kind of in that one.
Well, yeah, it's all concentrated, and that's, you know, near the center of the city.
Right.
So
it's
all
accessible.
Yeah, very accessible to the entire community. We also opened early this year.
I know it feels like years ago, right? Before COVID.
Yeah. we also opened early this year. We opened a special needs park. Okay. So over in Canyon Country, we created a special needs section. Now, most of us are blessed that we don't have to need a special needs park. But many of us who are also blessed in a different way have special needs children. And so this is one of the few special needs parks in LA County that we created for the special needs community. And we're looking to do more of that for the special needs community. I have to tell you, I was at that park and I saw those kids and I saw the parents with those kids. And I got to tell you, if that doesn't bring tears to your eyes, I don't know what will, because these kids were just so happy and felt like they belonged, and that was their park, and the parents were so glad. So, you know, we do a lot of things in the city, some of which we get bombarded for. Sorry. And some of which we get applauded for, and this is one where we really got applauded for that.
And I remember I was there at that opening day to cover it, and
Yes.
and you're very right. There was a lot of joy going on that day, and it was really something to see.
Right.
So kudos to you and the council for arranging and helping get that done. So before COVID, one of the large kind of talking points, issues for people in Santa Clarita was our transportation and our roads and our infrastructure. As you mentioned earlier, we're approaching 300,000 people. We have new developments coming in, it seems like, on a weekly basis. I know that's not the case, but sometimes it feels
Seems
like a lot.
that way, right?
So we've got more people coming in, which obviously I think is a good thing for the city, but it's going to put more pressure on our roads, going to put more pressure in terms of our infrastructure. Is there anything going on with the city right now in terms of transportation, whether it be busing or trying to encourage biking? I know there was a bike program, I want to say, before the pandemic started this year. Is there anything like that going forward next year that the city's going to be looking to?
Yeah. First of all, we always encourage walking and biking. we always encourage that. So we have bike paths throughout the city. We have a network of bike paths throughout Santa Clarita that, in my opinion, is second to none. Right? I mean, you can get pretty much anywhere in Santa Clarita on bike if you have the stamina. But yeah, so biking has always been at the forefront of our planning for transportation planning. The other things that we're doing in terms of major roads, okay, so we've approved the Dockweiler extension going from Sierra Highway, Dockweiler. We're going to build it clear across to Newhall. It's going to come across to 13th Street, come out the 13th Street exit, and it's a crosstown connector. All right. We also have in the plan and have had in the plan for many, many years the Via Princesa connection or extension. The holdup on that is Whitaker-Burmite. Okay, Via Princesa goes across the Whitaker-Burmite property.
Right.
And as you may know, we're in legal issues with Whitaker-Burmite owners, and until that gets cleared up, we're not going to be able to build that road. But that is a major road, a major cross-valley connector that's going to help with traffic a great deal. We have a state-of-the-art transportation center at City Hall that synchronizes the lights. Okay, so when people say the lights aren't synchronized, what they're really saying is they're not synchronized for me. All right, because they are synchronized. We do an analysis. We have a traffic center, computerized, state of the art, that says, hey, if we turn this light green, more traffic will flow. If we make this light red, more traffic will flow. So if I'm driving down McBean Parkway, I want all those lights to be green, right? and when they turn red, I go, these lights need to be synchronized. And what we really mean is they need to be synchronized for me.
Right.
And you know what? I'm not knocking anybody because, hey, I commuted for many years into LA, and when I get home, come off the freeway, man, I just want the lights to be in my favor. I don't want to have to stop 2-3 times on McBean to get home. And I get it, and I empathize, and I was there, and I was a screamer. But the reality is that they are synchronized. They just may not be synchronized for you.
You know, one of the first pieces that I ever had the honor of working on when I started interning at KHTS was I went with my fellow news director, Devin Miller, and you could look back on our website, I don't know how many years, and we actually went to that traffic center you're talking about, that transportation hub, and they really do a lot of cool things there.
Yeah.
So you're very correct in that's very state of the art, and I'd encourage anybody to look into it if they're getting frustrated with the lights. So something else I wanted to bring up, and because I don't think it's brought up enough, is that you served in the Air Force.
Yes.
For several years.
Yes.
So I got to imagine you're pretty connected, or more connected maybe than some others, to our veteran community here in the Santa Clarita Valley, who, just like everybody else, due to the COVID pandemic, have been suffering. Is there anything that the city is looking at doing in the next year to kind of help veterans out, whether it be because of COVID or just generally speaking?
Yeah, we try and do as much as we can for veterans. And one of the things that we've done is we helped open the Veterans Center office on Lyons Avenue. All right. What we're looking to do, and we're working with Supervisor Catherine Barger on this, is, if you'll recall, and walking distance from where we're sitting right now is the old senior center. Mm-hmm. And so we're looking to collaborate with the county, and we're not quite sure how that's going to happen, but we're working to make that happen. We have a lot of conversations going so that we can take that old senior center and convert it to a combination arts center and veterans center. Okay, so now if and when that happens, the veterans will have a much bigger place to go to, a place to hang out in, all right, and a place to get all the services they need. And so that's our goal for veterans. Now, I might add, there are lots of organizations working for veterans, okay? lots of organizations here in Santa Clarita. We have a veterans coalition collaborative where we're trying to get all those organizations to work together, and it's been pretty effective. Now, a shout out to Bill Reynolds, who's been one of the pillars for the veterans here in Santa Clarita. He just had heart surgery, and it's been successful. We understand. We pray for him. We support his getting well as quickly as possible. But it's a reminder that one person, one leader is good, but it's not enough. We have to have a whole group of people step up and in case something happens, kind of like what we veterans do when we're training for combat. Mm-hmm. All right, you can't just say, I'm the leader, do what I say, and if I get killed, well, sorry, you guys are screwed. You have to have leadership that blends down so that if something happens to the leader, other leaders step up. And we need to do that with the Veterans Collaborative.
Now, Mayor Miranda, I wish we had more time because you're very well spoken, and I'd love to keep asking questions. But in the final couple minutes that we have here, I got to ask you, this holiday season is going to look a lot different for everybody, obviously, because of the way that the world is right now. What are your plans to spend this Christmas safely, but also still enjoy, the holiday season?
Well, my daughter, I have one daughter that lives with us, and my other daughter, I have three daughters. Another daughter lives in Cincinnati, Ohio. We'll Zoom with them. I have a daughter, a son-in-law, and three kids that live in Ventura, and if we can, and if we can do it safely, we will visit them. And a short visit, we will go and deliver our presents and wish them a Merry Christmas and then come home. But mostly we stay home. So the whole idea is to stay safe. And it's a balance. Okay, I have churches calling me saying, we need to open. I have restaurants calling me, that, in Main Street, all the restaurants. We need to open. I have other people saying we need to stay closed. We're running out of hospital beds. The ICU at Henry Mayo is running out of hospital beds. Not only are they running out of hospital beds, their nurses and doctors are exhausted. Right? They're running out of nurses and doctors. They're getting tired, they're getting exhausted, frankly, I think many of them are getting discouraged. Not because they're not being successful, but because it's a lot of hard work. We need to help them.
Right. And this pandemic has been straining on everybody, but we're hoping this next year, with Mayor Miranda leading the charge, that Santa Clarita can get out of this pandemic era and move on. Mayor Miranda, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I really appreciate it. We're going to have to get you on more just because we have such good conversations here. Thank you, everyone, for joining. This has been Michael Brown with KHTS News.